storytelling, man. Every now and then I go to Egypt, dog, and I see some cats I used to run with. And they come up to me, man, they be like, yo, show, man, let's get back to some dirt. And I be like, hold up, pump your brakes, you're doing 90 to 30. And I'm like, look, I can't do that no more. And them cats be like, why? I gotta articulate real well to them, man. I just like, yo, man, Christ died for my sins, I love the Lord, I got a spirit in me. And to sum it all up, man, it's because I'm in love, I'm in love. And they like, you in love with who? I'm like, with a high love. The most high God, man, I am that I am. Jehovah.
Good morning, young kings. Time for your more motivation. Decided to jump on real quick this morning. Got a busy day, but I wanted to get back onto our regularly scheduled program and reforming our reality. A lot of things I got to get done today. A lot of appointments. Outside of when I'm not on the camera, there's a lot of medical appointments that I'm going to process out of the Army. So, you know, the wrist still doesn't bend. I need complete hip replacement. Wasn't supposed to be running. I'm finally listening because I'm hard-headed. But it still takes a toll on my body. I still have to get up in the morning, work out, and then go to these various different appointments. Today, actually have a tattoo appointment to get a tattoo covered up. And I guess that's a helpful tip for you young kings as well. Some things that I did in my youth, now it's gonna, you know, I paid maybe $250 for a tattoo back when I was 19 and 20. And now to cover it up, it's gonna be like $1,500. So that's the compound interest. It doesn't just work on the positive side when you investing. There's some things that if you're not doing it right, stewarding it right, it may be cheap for you to get your initial investment in today, but then it's going to cost you a lot later to get it undone. So make sure you're stewarding your energy, your talent, your gift properly, so that it blesses you in the future and that you're able to multiply and be exceedingly blessed beyond you can think or imagine, rather than covering up some stuff that you made a bad decision on. So getting back to our regularly scheduled program, there's a lot of information, so I need to get right into it. I ended the video before last with establishing real estate with the root word being real. So that's where we're going to pick up off on being real. So instead of assuming that you know what I mean when I say you have to be real, and that's the root call to establish real estate, we're going to go through it and we're going to use real as an acronym. The Most High gave me the download. I was going to do this video last week, but then everything got sidetracked when I had to, I won't say I had to, but when I was blessed enough to hear from the Most High regarding the direction in my life, obviously I took heed and went that direction. But establishing real estate, you got to be real. And real as an acronym, and we're going to go through each of these steps. The R is going to be righteous. And then the E is going to be excellent. The A is going to be a sense of adventure. And then the L is going to be a life learner. So we'll get through all that. Before we get to that, just want to give you some random thoughts that came to my head between now and the last video that I put out there. Just some random thoughts that I wanted to share with you. The first random thought was that people will try to dethrone you who never participated in crowning you. So when you go in to reform your reality, there's going to be people who try to humble you or bring you down, back down to earth, and they never participate in your ascension, but they definitely want to be the leading role in part of your destruction, or at least have some destructive communication going towards you. The second random thought was that you don't need people's permission to rule your life. It's time to take charge of your kingdom. Right now, you don't need permission slips. You don't need anything, petition signed. You don't need anybody's advice for you to rule your life. Just start ruling. Third random thought was that some people think they are doing you a favor by being connected to you. And this is what you need to do. You need to disconnect from those people and remove access, especially from those who don't recognize your gifts and your talent. So no favors. Don't be a charity case and just accept people as friends and associates. There's a cost to be around you. Fourth random thought is like, if people are on the fence on being on your team, kick them off to the other side and tell them to stay off your yard. meaning like don't allow people to be in the middle ground of are they for you or against you, because sometimes fake friends make the worst enemies. They get close to you enough just to recognize what your gift and talents are, and then they get information, secret information that you would reveal to a friend, only for them to use it against you later down the line. So they're collecting data on you, not to empower you, but just to kind of dethrone you. So if people are on the fence, kick them off the fence and tell them to stay off your yard. The fifth one is that weak-minded people think that you being great is an indictment or something against them being equally as great. They think your greatness is diminished. Their greatness is diminished by your greatness. And this is not a competition. There's enough room for all of us to be great. And I think there's enough for all us to ascend to our higher self and still live in harmony. The next one was be prepared to let go and walk away at times. The ability to just disconnect and walk away from some people until things settle down is going to be probably lifelong wisdom that you need to apply throughout your life. My emotional intelligence is an area that I definitely need to improve. I used to have a temper, and to be honest, I think that's what prevented me from ascending to a full bird colonel or a general. It wasn't my work ethic. It wasn't the work I produced. The work I produced was quality work. But man, I had a temper. I mean, I would go off on people, whether they outranked me or whatever. So emotional intelligence, we'll get into that as part of this reforming our reality. But sometimes you got to let things go, as they say, water off a duck back. And then what I put in the last video, random thought, is like ensure every relationship that you're connected to either evolve or dissolve, go or grow, or grow or go. That's the only options. So with that long introductions, we're going to get into let's be real. In order for you to be real and for you to ascend to a higher version of yourself, the first thing you got to do is be righteous. And that's what the R stands for. And when you look up righteous, it's morally right or justifiable, victorious, upright, upstanding, worthy, ethical, very good or excellent. And with being righteous, you got to be careful, because this is not self-righteous. It's being in right standing with the Most High. And that's where your life will start to turn and alter for the better. Once you get in right standing with the Most High, you have nothing. I mean, the Most High is the most efficient manager or being that ever existed. There's no wasted time with the Most High. So he's going to be putting you in situations and circumstances for you to evolve and for you to grow. That adversity that you thought was meant to test you or to destroy you was just that. It was just to test you. So you got to get to a point where you in right standing with the Most High and you understand like everything is connected. Like you going through what you went in your childhood is connected to who you chose as a mate, is connected to where you went to work at, and all the dots are connected. So you got to be intentional about trusting the Most High and being in right standing. And when I looked up an article and it says, what does it mean to be righteous? And righteous is one who is right. And it talks about in an article that all of us are born into sin and we're unable to produce any healthy version of righteousness. So the righteousness that I have is not my own. It's been imputed to me through Yeshua, the Most High Son, who came down to live the perfect life to show that it can be done. So when you start ascending, if it's your own righteousness, then you are liable to be arrogant. You're liable to not really fully understand or be connected what the Most High is doing with you. And you'll find yourself plateauing or even descending because you didn't understand your task and your purpose. So when you're striving to be righteous, it's just about being right standing, being mindful, being in a prayerful intercession always. Like my communication with the Most High, it's like me doing these videos, or it's just me talking. I'll be out walking. I can't run anymore, but that used to be my preferred interaction, would be running. But now it's working out. Sometimes it's sitting down, like the let's be real. I was in the gym and the Most High just put it on my heart, like, hey, this is what I want you to communicate about being real. And it's about getting people to get back connected to him as the first. So the R is righteous, being in right standing. And it's also, the Bible clearly defines righteousness as something his people should pursue. So it's scriptural. You're supposed to be increasingly better. Now, this is not meaning that you're not going to get things wrong, or that you won't miss the mark. But once you miss the mark, it's the one thing to get up and then try again. So not just saying, well, I failed and I'll always be a failure. It's getting up and acknowledging in repentance. Like when David sinned, he committed adultery, committed murder and all these things. When it was brought to his attention, his first thought was like, hey, I sinned against God. Like, in real talk, that's the only person you really can sin against. It's the deity, the Most High. Now, your sin impacts people in this physical world, but that's actually indication of a severed relationship between you and the Most High when that sin exists. So that's your primary relationship that you need to get repaired. And then once that is repaired, then you can start focusing on where your sin impacted others. But just being in right standing with God and knowing that it's not your standing, not your righteousness that you're supposed to be living on. With that being said, the E, and let's be real, is excellent. What was placed in my heart today in the gym, the Most High told me, it's like the game is rigged. He told me to communicate to you that this game is rigged. Like, everybody don't make it. Everybody, there's no room for average on this ascension journey. There's no room for being lazy on this ascension journey. There's no room for, hey, I need a hookup, I need a discount on this ascension journey. This is paying the full price of being your authentic self. So there's no discount on this, and everybody doesn't make it. This is a road for excellence. And I used to tell people when Obama ascended to the office of the president, and they say, hey, he opened up the floodgates for everybody to make it. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He didn't open up the floodgates for everybody to make it. He opened up the opportunity for those who are exceedingly excellent in what they do. Believe me, especially if you melanated, there's nobody giving you a hookup or benefit of a doubt. You got to come and show that you are displaying excellence on a long, consistent base before you get an opportunity. So striving for excellence. There's a quote out there that says, striving for perfection is demoralizing. Striving for excellence is motivating. You can never attain perfection because we're all sinful. We all make mistakes, but you can have excellence regardless of being less than perfect. So striving for perfection is demoralizing. Striving for excellence is motivating. So you ought to be motivated by getting better. And I know for me, I've always had this innate desire to be better than what I am, or that I'm even capable of being, but yet I still pursue growth and opportunities to become better. So even in my failure, I'd say a lot of times I successfully find out things that don't work so I can begin again more intelligently. So make sure that you are pursuing excellence. And there was an article, 10 must-have qualities for sustained excellence as a leader. And the author of this article is Ryan Hawk. And I'm going to go through these steps kind of pretty fast. Number one, for the must-have qualities is curiosity. Leaders follow their noses is the first trait among them. You know, they always have a sense of exploring and trying something different. Number two, they're self-aware. They very much know what they do. They know much what they do well. And similarly, they know what things they struggle in. So number three, they're avid reader. Not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. You got to get new information in your head in order to walk at a higher level. Number four, they take time to think and focus on the important. They go in and do the deep work, and that deep work where it's like where you highly concentrating on things that need to get done. And there's an interesting quote in this about Dwight Eisenhower, and he made a statement that says, what is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important. Once again, he says, what is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important. So the things that you feel like you need to get accomplished right away, maybe, you need to take a break and realize it's not that important. It ain't gonna matter 10, 15 years down the line. Number 5, confidence. In order for you to have excellence, you're gonna have to have confidence. The greatest leaders are confident and determined. They know that they will make it through a tough time no matter what. Like tough times, they understand that adversity is a part of the process of being great. So they understand they'll make it through it. Number 6, they have an overwhelming sense of optimism. The best leaders simply believe that great things will happen. I remember when I started these videos over a year ago, I was running. I think I ran like 15, 17 miles, and I told the audience, maybe I'll go back and look it up. But I told you at that time that the Most High told me, it might have been 2 years ago. I said, the Most High said, he didn't promise he would save my marriage, but he told me I would be okay in the end. And that has never been more true than it is. When you're going through something, you think like, hey, that's woe is me. It's always bad things that happen. But all those things are connected to you getting on the other side. So it says a lot of people are underperforming because they said, just based on my luck, I'm going to mess this up. So words have power, and it talked about reversing that. It said, based on my luck, I'm going to smash this. I'm going to conquer this. I'm going to be great. So make sure you reform your speech. And we're going to be talking about reforming speech as well. Number 7, they're always trying to level up. And it talks about you're the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. And if they're not helping you grow, then they need to go. As I mentioned, every relationship you're connected to need to go as you grow. If you grow together, it's okay for you to be together. If you grow apart, it's time for you to be apart. And an interesting thing that it mentioned in this article is that when you go, it's not saying you have to cut everybody off. No, there's some people that need to be cut off, and you don't need to associate with them at all. But then you got this other tier of people, they're not really benefiting you in any type of way, but they're not harming. They just don't mean any well or any ill intent. And I'm not saying cut those people off. And it says just start spending less time with them. Like I went through this journey when I'm still going through it. My therapist, she told me, it's like, just dial it back a little. You are the one that's sustaining all your relationships, all your physical relationship. Like if you don't call them, you don't hear from them. So I stopped calling people for, about a month and a half, 2 months. My line was quiet. I mean, I was the one that's engaging with people and interacting with them on a regular basis. And when I stopped that, our conversation stopped. So sometimes you may not even have to cut people off. Just don't initiate the call. Just don't pick up the phone and say, hey, what you doing? Hey, you want to hang out? If you don't initiate it, then a lot of times a lot of those superficial relationships are going to start to fall away. Number 8, they're constantly helping others. Great leaders love being mentored, and they look at everybody as a student, including themselves. It's like, I used to say life is a big classroom. So it's for us to learn. Number 9 is humility. I'm a humble person. That's an area that I can improve on even more. They're concerned about right or wrong. They don't just let little stuff go. It bothers them when something is not right. Great leaders in the world treat the janitor as the same person how they would treat the CEO. Number 10, their morning routine. They win the morning, meaning like if you win the morning, you can win the day. You win the day, you win the week. You win enough weeks, you're going to win the month. You win the month, then you're going to win the year. You keep winning years, and then you're going to be like me. You're going to be I am king. You'll get to a point where you start to continue to build. Like the stuff and success I have now, it didn't start when I did videos. My mindset started back 18 and 19 when I first joined the Army, and I had a desire to constantly get better. So morning routines are important. And it says some morning routines are something like drinking a lot of water, writing, reading, listening to podcasts, just other stuff like moving your body and working out, like constantly doing something. It's so easy to procrastinate and put stuff off. So just make sure that you are getting into the vein of being a morning person, even though you may not feel like, I got to hurry up. I'm going on 20 minutes. The A is adventurous, and willing to take risks and explore different methods of doing things. So fearless, unafraid, confidence, resourceful, progressive are all things that are associated with adventure. And I know me in my life, I grasp the opportunity to explore and do something different. If you follow my videos, there was times I was excited about potentially going down to the Pentagon. I was excited about an opportunity to go to Japan. Like, my mind and my heart grasps those adventure opportunities. And if you're going to be real, then you need to have a sense of adventure. So then the next one is going to be life learners. The L in Let's Be Real is going to be life learners. Life learner recognize the importance and the joy of growth and personal development. So they never settle for what they currently know and always seeking to improve upon their current knowledge. Like, you got to get to a point where you are continuing to grow, to evolve, and to develop. And when you grow, some people are not going to be around with you. And I know I'm running long, but I want you to bear with me because I think it's some good information. These are 12 habits that people who are lifelong learners, they read on a daily basis. They attend various different courses, so they don't just try to be a master of one. They go out and they expand their horizons. They actively seek opportunities to grow. Never wasting time. And it mentioned that, do you know that every wasted minute is gone forever? They take care of their bodies. A clever mind combined with a body in great condition is the best asset that you can have. I'll read that again. It says a clever mind combined with the body in great condition is the best asset that you can have. Number 5, they have diverse passions. You can, and it's a quote from Steve Jobs, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots somehow connect to your future. Meaning, like, God is orchestrating all this. Everything that you experience in your life has brought you to this point, and it's connected to something that's going to be beneficial to you later. So learn it now and go and grow later. Number 6, they love making progress. Life learners love to experience constant growth and improvement. Number 7, they challenge themselves with specific goals. They write down their goals of what they want to accomplish, and they challenge themselves to accomplish that. Number 8, they embrace change. They understand, yes, they may be started on this path, but they're not married to the path of going that direction. They're married to the growth and being connected to the Most High. So if they get a word from high that they need to alter that, then they're able to adjust. And nothing worse than somebody that's doing the wrong thing just because that's what they said they were going to do. Once you recognize that it's not in line with where you want to go, I used to tell my kids, I says, don't run from anything, run to something. Because when you run from something, you'll always be running. But when you run to something, now you got a direction, you got a goal, you got something that's leading you and guiding you. Number 9, they believe it's never too late to learn something. They're always advancing a new idea. So it's never too late. Number 10, their attitude to getting better is contagious. Like, people around them start to grow. Like, people will reach out to you out the blues, like, hey man, I'm glad you mentioned that. And I've had that happen to me several times since I've done these videos. Hey, thanks for saying that. I appreciate that. So now it's gonna shock everybody that's around me, and then they're gonna be like, okay, if he can do that, maybe I can do that. And maybe they needed me to step out there to encourage them to do that. And number 11, they leave their comfort zone. No greatness will happen inside your comfort zone. All greatness will lead you to a place of discomfort outside your comfort zone. So get comfortable being uncomfortable. And number 12, they never settle down. Meaning, like, they never, like, there would be a lot of people that says it don't take all that. Yes, it does. The people who would tell you it don't take all that, watch what they have and what they have attained in their life. Not much. Not something you want to emulate. So when they tell you it don't take all that, tell them, yes, it does. It takes all that and more. It's going to take everything you have in an anointing from the Most High for you to ascend to your higher self. So the L on there was life learners. So I added the L onto the end of Let's Be Real. And that's longevity. It ain't how fast you can get something. It's about the duration in which you can keep it. And we're talking about sustained success. It's not just a quick one-hitter quitter and you're set for life. You got to have longevity. And it talks about that in Proverbs 9:11. It says, "For by me the days shall be multiplied, and the years of the life shall be increased." So when you are righteous and you're pursuing excellence and you're out there, seeking that adventure, you being a lifelong learner, you're going to realize that's going to come with some longevity. You're going to be in this game for a while. So in conclusion with this, it's time to be real. And it's never too late to start. You can start today to becoming a better you. Choose today, young kings.
Danger. Once you get into the desert, there's no going back, said the camel driver. And when you can't go back, you have to worry only about the best way of moving forward. The rest is up to Allah, including the danger.